The flu that wasn't from Spain. Somewhere in the dust and prairie winds of southwestern Kansas, a killer began quietly in the winter of 1918. Nobody wrote about it. Nobody warned anyone. The world was too busy watching a different kind of death unfolding in the trenches of a war that had already claimed millions. But in Haskell County, something strange was happening. Local residents were falling suddenly, violently ill. Not the usual winter flu. This was faster, harsher. A local doctor, alarmed by what he was seeing, sent a warning to federal health officials. It would be the only mention of influenza anywhere in the world for the next 6 months. Nobody investigated because 300 miles east, a war machine was already turning. Camp Funston, a sprawling army base inside Fort Riley, was processing nearly 56,000 soldiers preparing for deployment to France. Soldiers from Haskell County moved in and out of that base constantly, visiting family, returning to camp, carrying something back with them that no one could see. On March 4, 1918, Camp Funston reported its first case. Within 3 weeks, over 1,000 soldiers were sick. Military hospitals overflowed, and still, the world outside barely noticed. Because this was wartime, newspapers across America, Britain, France, and Germany were under strict censorship, reporting on a mysterious illness spreading through military camps. Could damage morale, could aid the enemy. So they said nothing. By April, most of the 36 major training camps across the United States were reporting outbreaks. Infected soldiers, showing no symptoms yet, were shipped overseas by the thousands. Into crowded ships, into trenches, into cities across Europe. The virus spread with them, mutating, growing deadlier with every wave. Only one country reported honestly: Spain. Neutral in the war, with a free press unburdened by censorship. Spanish newspapers described the illness in full, unflinching detail. So when the rest of the world finally noticed the devastation around them, they looked at the only honest reporting available and made a fatal assumption. They called it the Spanish flu, a name that stuck for over a century, a name that erased its true origin entirely. Because the truth was this: it hadn't started in Spain at all. The earliest probable cases were documented in Haskell County, Kansas, nearly a month before Spain ever recorded one. By the time it burned out, estimates suggest between 25 and 50 million people had died worldwide, some estimates reaching as high as 100 million. More lives lost than the war itself had claimed. It began in silence, in a quiet Kansas county, overshadowed by a war so consuming that a killer of unimaginable scale slipped through the cracks, unreported, until it was already unstoppable. This is Void Files. Subscribe for more stories. Thank you for watching.